Hey friends, it's Jen. Welcome to Good God Talks here on YouTube. I'm so excited to get to share today's episode with you. If you're new around here, make sure you hit all of the buttons to like, subscribe, and turn on alerts. You're not going to want to miss future episodes. The whole point of this podcast is to help you grow in your habit of having uncommon conversations with God in everyday life moments. And so, with that, let's jump into today's episode. Hey friends, it's Jen. Welcome to the 300th episode of Good God Talks. I'm so excited to talk with you today about testimonies of how God is talking with his kids. Way back at episode 1, I had hoped that we would be spending time together like this for a while, but episode 300 just feels like a milestone that I wanted a minute to celebrate. And this isn't like, oh, celebrate me, pat on my back. This is, let's celebrate what God has done. Now, you guys know part of my testimony is coming to Christ, not knowing he wanted a relationship with us. So, conversational prayer, listening and talking back and forth with God was even further off of my radar. And that's part of why I'm so passionate about this, because learning that I could have relationship with God changed everything for me. And part of living in relationship with him is communication. As humans, we grow in relationships by two big things: healthy communication and shared experiences. Every day gets to be a shared experience we have with God. And we get to talk with him through the many ways that he talks with us, which includes, but is not just only what is written down in the Bible. So I want to share a few testimonies that I've received from listeners about how God is talking with you, because these things are worth celebrating. This listener said, "Your engaging podcast has significantly enriched my spiritual journey. Combining encouragement and thoughtful insights is truly uplifting and has made a remarkable impact on how I view prayer. Your suggestions have been nothing short of revolutionary for me. The idea of inviting God into my prayers and cherishing spontaneous moments with him, rather than adhering strictly to rigid structures, has transformed my entire approach to prayer. In many ways, this has affected my everyday life." That's the point of the podcast. It's not for you to hear from me, it's for you to hear from God. And I love this so much. Here's another one. She said, "God did it again, spoke to me profoundly through your podcast." And she shared a story with me about how a few months prior, she was feeling discouraged about something and had heard God speak an encouraging sentence to her spirit so clearly. But she didn't know that what she had heard was a Bible verse until she heard it on a Good God Talks episode. She says even cooler was the topic that she'd been discouraged about months ago, was the exact context the biblical verse was about too. Friends, you're hearing God. To this listener, you heard God speak. Celebrate that. Remember that. Especially in times when you get discouraged again, be reminded of how he shows up. Another listener said, "I've been with you since the episodes in the 140s. Thank you. Please don't stop. I've come away from these with a different lens to look through." And I got a testimony from a listener who listens when she gets up with her baby at 3 a.m. She says, "It's some of the only times right now that I get to have intentional time with the Lord. Thanks for creating your podcast. I know it's a blessing to many people, and I'm one of them." Guys, these messages are so encouraging to me, and I share them to be of encouragement to you too. Life with God is happening, and we get to participate in it. As I reflect back on the beginning of this podcast, it was not an ideal season for me in a lot of ways, but I had heard God's clear yes, even though I had just gotten braces, which is a whole nother thing that we'll talk about sometime, I'm sure. Even though my mom was sick and ended up getting diagnosed with cancer the same month the podcast launched. Even through busy seasons where sometimes it can be hard to stick with this schedule, God has said yes, and he keeps empowering me and fueling me to do this And I keep receiving ministry as I'm using these same questions to go talk with him more throughout my days. And so it's a joy to get to serve you in this way. If you have testimonies that you can share about what God has been speaking to you, please message me and also consider posting a review to help other people find the podcast. And I want to pray for you and leave you with a question to take to God today. And so, Lord, I thank you for every listener. Thank you for every single person who is tuned in, not for my voice, but to hear yours. God, keep speaking to us. Keep moving. Keep drawing us ever closer to yourself. God, I ask your blessing and your favor. Show how you are close to each and every listener and talk to them in ways that they will recognize are you speaking. In your name, God, amen. And here's a question that you can take right now into conversation with God. God, what's something you want to share with me today? I know there's something, and I'm excited for what he'll share with you. Have a good talk.